arguments with common sense. Number one, what's the first argument they make? We should be capitalists in thinking subsidy should never be in the playbook of a capitalist dead arguments. Number one, what's the most capitalist country in the world? United States of America. America gives $35 billion in tax breaks to producers of oil to be able to reduce the price at the pump. That's $5 billion every year. America pays subsidy, a production subsidy. First argument gone. Second argument, there's more money in the hands of the state, right? Second argument, in 2018, the fact they shared was 7.9 trillion. At the exchange rate, it was $26 billion. In 2025, the fact they trade was 21.9 trillion. At the exchange rate, is $14 billion. I've not even factored in inflation. So the money has reduced in dollar terms, not even factoring in inflation. When I factor the role of inflation, it gets even higher. That's another argument gone down the drain. Third argument, we shouldn't hear any form of subsidies. That's another flawed argument. Nigeria paid 34 trillion in import waivers for gone revenue, 2025. Do you know how much that will have done for the people? And it was the big people. Dr. Abati, you always talk about the import waiver scam in this country. It was the big people that benefited from it. Thirdly, Nigerians are the biggest beneficiary of subsidies. It's a lie. Ayo, please, don't be deceived. You see all these dead arguments they make about, oh, the chronic capitalists that ate subsidy money. Yes, the arguments exist. You know what has happened now? The chronic capitalist has just changed hands. The biggest beneficiary of subsidies, Ayo, I put it to you today, are not even Nigerians. The biggest beneficiary of subsidy are not Nigerians. They are chronic capitalists that have big infrastructure and they do contracts. They have been the biggest beneficiary of subsidy. So the idea of chronic capitalism, we have gotten done with it, is a dead argument. They've just shifted the cycle of people that make money. Formerly, it was the NMPC. Now they just shifted the cycle of people that make money. Till today, they've not accounted for the over 3 trillion that was spent on the refinery. Over $3 billion that was spent on the refinery. So if they bring in that argument, it's already flawed. Which other argument do they have? The other argument that they make is that there was no, we don't want to go back to the days of long queues. No. Yeah. What caused long queues then was because of import logistics. Today you have Dangote producing locally. As at 2024 to 2025, when we're still paying subsidies, because we paid subsidies in 2024, there were no long queues, but we're subsidizing. So you can still have a subsidy regime going on, and there will be no long queues because production was closed by Dangote had it. That's just it. So that argument also falls flat on its feet. Please, if you have other argument, you can send to me. Let me debunk all this argument one by one. For me, I'm not also happy with Atiku Abubakar. And you see me, I don't like people just talking in the public space. By now, the next layer of Atiku's argument should be what I call mathematical modeling. What is the modeling? At what level of crude oil price will you pay subsidy or not? There was a point, if you remember, in 2020 during COVID, NMPC came and said subsidy was gone. You know why they said that? Because crude oil price was negative on the international market and prices were stable. So if crude oil price is negative, you don't need to pay subsidy. If crude oil price is like $30, $40 per barrel, you don't still need to pay subsidy. There must be a threshold point where Atiku can think subsidy can kick in. And that's when they say all economists. This was the argument like of Bismarck Rwani was making on Nairametrics, CPA Mike or something, what did they call it, by my brother Ogudre. So at what threshold? Is it at $80 per barrel? And what will be the cap on the kind of tax breaks you want to give? Issue it out. And what will be the subventions for the IOC you want to give? That's just it. What his proposal is saying is that there's a subsidy cap. Pretty much what we do. All it's just saying is sell below international rates to the already DSDO that we're doing, direct that crude for Naira deal. Yeah. That's what we're saying. All right? And there was still some form of that level of subsidy. NMPC, do you remember that was buying crude from Dangote and selling it at a shorter rate? It was after a point they said, oh, we can't sustain this. Even when Dangote refinery kick-started. So he should now give us the mathematical modeling. And he needs to be able to get economists to do that for him. I'm not sure if he has done that as we speak today. Because if you bring out a proposal, you should also bring out the mathematical modeling. That's what we want to see in the argument. We will now debate if the mathematical modeling makes sense or not. Let's stop deceiving ourselves. Chronic capital. There are people that own private ports in this country. That carry things into this country, yes. That are not being accounted for. All the people that went to go and get free trade zone status near Riverline. Don't we need to carry things into this country? Why are we deceiving ourselves?
Should we not call for more transparency and accountability?
They should start by printing out all the names of people they gave import waivers of 34 trillion. That's accountability now. This deep shore offshore project that they want to do, and they want to give as much as $11 per barrel tax breaks. And they should print their names out now. Who are the people that enjoy those ones? They should give us accountability on people that they are giving import licenses for now. So when they keep deceiving people and saying, we are fighting chronic capitalism just change hands. All the argument of, some people ate flats. It's not today they've been scamming Nigeria. Remember the days of import licenses? That's how some people can't meet up. See, you see, Nigeria is so corrupt to an extent that You will shout when your party no dey government. When your party don't dey government, you go collect and put them for your pocket. Move on. When your party leave government again, you go shout. That's what we keep doing. It's a clear case of Olegbe. That's what Nigeria is centered about. Except the people break that monopoly. And it's not the elite class that will break that monopoly. It's the people, except you break that monopoly of crony capitalism. You can't have trickle-down economics. The reason why people are suffering in Nigeria is that they have trickle-down economics. Look at the import waivers they granted when food prices were high and everything. Who are the people that collected the import waivers to bring food in? They should print out their names and how many quota did they give them? Who are the people that collected the import waivers across the import licenses for even bringing in petrol in? They should print it. Is it me and you? Shame me, we are not get money. We be say rent, they scatter my head. I think of how I go pay my next rent for Vietnam. No, it's not me now. It's them. So when they come to lie to you and say, oh, see, for any government policy, the question is, the capitalists that are enjoying it just change hands. That's what's happening. That's why some people are crying and complaining.
All right.
So it's the transparency we want to see. That's just it, pure and simple.
All right, Dr. Bati.
Okay, let me start with this long conversation over subsidy removal and Atiku Abubakar's intervention. And I speak as a man who was an insider observer when this happens and was spokesperson for the defense of the process under the Jonathan administration, because it was an issue under the Jonathan administration. Now, under the Jonathan administration, what that administration proposed was the deregulation of the downstream sector. We didn't call it subsidy removal. It was deregulation of the downstream sector. And at that time, the Jonathan administration in 2012 set up a committee led by Igboje Imokwede. I think Ig at the time was maybe managing director of Access Bank, but he was also a member of the economic management team. And his committee, his job was to do verification of all these, fuel subsidy claims. And that committee discovered that 21 companies were collecting money from Nigeria and making fraudulent claims under what they called, at the time, NNPC, as it then was, called it under recovery. Then, of course, that same committee, later, there was also another committee. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala was the coordinating minister of the economy and minister of finance then. Another committee was now set up to look deeper. Again, it was the Igboje Imokwede committee working with the National Assembly, investigating all of this. That second committee further discovered that about 197 transactions relating to subsidy transactions had robbed Nigeria of up to about 232 billion naira. And within a space of about 2011, 2012 or thereabouts, that in fact Nigeria had lost money close to about $1 trillion. And it was on the basis of those findings that the Jonathan administration then decided on, deregulation of the downstream sector, and the focus was on the poor people to stop the fraud being collected by, perpetrated by rich people, and to make sure that the poor people were protected. It is a matter of irony that the people who are in the saddle today were even the ones then who led the rebellion against the Jonathan administration. So in a sense, that this subsidy matter is still on the table, it's a subtle reminder of, a vindication. Again, you may say, maybe I'm in an interested party, of the vindication of the Jonathan administration. The second issue I would like to address is that some people have been saying, why is Atiku Abubakar raising this issue? Well, we have said consistently that this 2027 election process should be about issues, not personalities. Yes. I have condemned the attempt by the Atiku camp, looking for certificate, looking for NYSC certificate. These are issues that have been treated for over 30 years, which have been settled even at the level of the Supreme Court. But if he's raising a policy issue, I think, yes, it's useful for public debate. And fuel subsidy removal remains one of those major issues at the heart of the economic management of the process. Now, the third point is that people are saying Atiku has changed his mind. After all, in 2023, he himself said he supported the idea of a fuel subsidy removal. Well, you can always change your mind. Yeah. We're dealing with policy. And if you look at why the presidential candidate of the ADC is changing his mind, what I seem to understand is that this is a good idea, but that the Tinubu administration has implemented it the wrong way. Now, Atiku Abubakar says he will restore the subsidy were he to win, but will he win? But the missing point in his own argument is that I don't see how he's providing an alternative. It's not enough to double down and say, I will restore fuel subsidy. If you restore fuel subsidy and you say the Tinubu administration has not managed it well, what are those lessons that you have seen in how the Tinubu administration has allegedly managed it well? And what will you do differently if you bring the subsidy back? It seems to me that the...
Oh my, this is one shall never yes. Yeah, still on this issue of subsidy. I don't see Atiku said that he will restrict a plan to restore fuel subsidy. You understand? So Arise TV crew, Rufa, Dr. Sin, Dr. Rufa, Dr. Bati, you the door yes. You understand? So their opinion is very valid. You understand? So His Excellence. You understand? So removal the fuel subsidy never benefit Nigeria. You understand? It not benefit Nigeria institution. You understand? Can you imagine? No good, no electricity, as in many things. Which kind? Okay, what's the meaning of remove the fuel subsidy? You understand? It never benefit Nigeria. It never benefit Nigeria. So all this one they talk. So all this one they talk say, I will restore fuel subsidy. There's nothing like fuel subsidy. There's nothing like fuel subsidy. I see they talk on. You understand? There's nothing like fuel subsidy. You understand me? The fuel subsidy they talk say they remove. Now other country they enjoy them. Now other country they benefit the fuel subsidy. Not be Nigerians. Now other country. You understand? So all this one they talk. Now you get to me. You understand me? So now so you be. Please let me share also the thoughts on that conversation. Não fui jogar